Good evening. This is John Wynn, Bilete, and this is the Doomer Bloomer podcast
Formerly the Maple Trues.
with one big episode.
That's right. We decided to rebrand due to technical difficulties, we'll call it.
Yes. Search engine issues. In
Yes.
any case, Doomer Bloomers represents a certain ideology we ascribe to. Not that we're
Agreed.
doomers. I guess we're people that have seen the worst in life, but still have an optimistic philosophy. I don't know if that corresponds to your views, but I think so.
I would say so for the most part.
Excellent.
See the shadow and the light.
There you go.
Gray Jedi.
Gray Jedi. Yes, exactly. I like that. So, yeah, well, enough about what we're about. Let's actually just dive right in on what we're going to be talking about tonight, Bill.
Okay. In this episode of the Maple True or the Doomer Bloomer podcast, we discuss.
How dare you?
How dare I? Sorry, it's.
How dare you live in the past like that?
We discuss, among other things, the rise of transgenderism, psychedelic drugs, and becoming black-pilled. I'm going to talk about potential for future transgender only Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
John is going to talk about what is red pill, blue pill, black pill, purple pill. I'm going to talk about psychedelic drugs and the John Hopkins study on psilocybin mushrooms for depression and anxiety. I'd added another topic in here because it kind of came up earlier, was transhumanism's otherkins and the potential of virtual reality.
Oh yeah, I just saw you. I'm looking at it right now. I just saw that you added that to our program. Of course, health, wealth, happiness. We can get into that a little bit later. See how it ties in with the other subjects. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
John recently started Toastmasters, so he's going to talk about his experience with those guys.
If we have time. Yeah.
If we have time.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's go. Let's start. You start off with whichever you want to start off with. Like, what's on your brain, Mr. Bill, ETE?
So I don't know. I've been doing a lot of quote unquote trips lately for mental health reasons and just growth reasons. It's kind of been in the news lately a little bit. But for those of you who aren't familiar, John Hopkins has been doing studies on psilocybin mushrooms since 2006. And they're looking at the effects on neuroplasticity and treating treatment-resistant depression, and also other anxiety disorders with psilocybin mushrooms, which are a known hallucinogen, but in low doses, they can also improve mood, your sense of calm.
Yeah, productivity, creativity also.
A host of different things. And they were previously listed as a Schedule 1 drug, and they're trying to get them used for medicinal purposes, trying to change the FDA, Federal Drug Agency's classification.
Yeah.
That's fairly significant, I think.
And I think it's Denver, Colorado, or I just heard this
Denver,
yesterday.
Colorado. Yeah, you're right. They just passed a bill legalizing.
They just passed it, right? Or they're about to pass it.
Decriminalizing psilocybin in Denver. So those of our listeners in Denver, go out and find your mushroom of choice, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's Colorado. I'm sure they know about it already.
Oh yeah, right. They already legalized marijuana there first, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, psychedelics they have no purpose on as a Schedule 1. I mean, Schedule 1 means they're they're extremely dangerous and addictive and have no
Medicinal use.
medical value. Yeah,
Correct.
which is completely ludicrous. Just like I remember growing up in the 90s, that's what they said about weed. I don't think it was Schedule 1, but I mean, they said like every booklet I got from school or wherever, um, said that weed is bad and does,
It's the gateway drug. Ooh.
yeah. This is your brain.
Yeah.
This is your brain on drugs, like a
I
fried fucking egg.
I personally went through the DARE program, the Drugs Awareness Resistance Education program, twice.
Yeah,
Once in
really.
grade 5 and once in grade 8.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, alcohol has done a lot more damage than any of these other substances.
Yeah, for sure. And
Um,
if there's still people out there that believe that like weed and is bad, and it's not, I mean, it's not harmless, it has like some downsides, but you guys are completely off your fucking mind,
well, I would
you know.
say, like, in terms of like weed, don't use it until after the age of 19, for sure, or even psychedelics for that matter.
Yeah,
Um,
your brain is still forming.
yeah, and if you all also have a predisposed condition, in like if your family has a history of mental health problems, it's also probably not a good idea. But if you're in a
Yeah.
reasonable mental state and a good place in your life, and you want to experiment, and you want to have an eye-opening or a mind-opening experience,
Hmm.
it's definitely something you want to try, at least once. And if it's not for you, find it's not for you, then it's not for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean like we're both into psychedelics, even though my consumption of it has been well, it's basically non-existent for the last couple of years of anything alcohol, weed, or anything else. But yeah, if there's, I would take a gram of shrooms or a couple grams of shrooms over a bottle of wine at this point, just because of the value it's added to my life. Um, I'd like to add something to what you just said, though, because it is a fair warning to say to people, if you have like a pre-existing condition, not to use it. Just because, like in typical situations where people will be using these drugs or compounds, however you want to call them,
Let's call them
it's like a
compounds.
party set. It's a party setting, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and these are
I
compounds that,
yeah, I
yeah,
would.
go ahead.
I like I'm agreeing with you. I wouldn't do these in the company of other people. Maybe one sober trip sitter, but
Well, no, that's actually not the point I'm trying to make. It's because you said if you have like mental issues and all that, not to do it. I would say not to do it in a party setting if you have mental issues.
that's
If
the
you have like a depression or anxieties, but you really want to use it as a tool to help you get out of it. Um, Again, I'm not advocating, but I mean, this is what these compounds are being studied for at this point, right?
agree.
I'll just say, like Terrence McKenna said, like the set and setting is so crucial with these molecules that are completely revamping your brain, that as much as they can optimize your brain in the right circumstances, as much they can warp it in bad ways. Right? It's
Well,
a double edged sword.
if you yeah, if you're already coming to it with a lot of angry feelings or hate feelings about your life or
Yeah.
where you're at in life or even another person, it'll
Hmm.
amplify what you already bring to the experience. Uh,
Exactly. I would add to, no matter what state of mind or mental issues you might have or not have, having a basic knowledge of meditation is highly recommended on my end. In any case,
yeah, I could agree with you there.
yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. I don't want to discourage someone that has depression or anxiety. Oh, well, I can't do it. It's not like we're authorities on the subject or anything, but look into it, do your research before doing them is all I can say.
Yeah. There's no try before you buy. Or
Yeah.
start in small doses. You know,
Yeah,
don't
definitely.
don't do more than a gram to start. And like you said, I would recommend having a trip sitter or somebody who's sober to watch over
Yeah.
you for your first couple times.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but
Like I was to you, Bill.
exactly, uh, if like John was to me, he was my spiritual guide on my first trip.
Oh wow, thanks, Bill. I never knew I was that important.
Well, you're very important to me, John. So
Hey, same here, man. You're my podcast partner and great friend. So, uh, same here.
but
Here, here.
here. Without John, I probably would have probably never opened the door on psychedelics because I grew up in a small town and didn't really have access to those sort of compounds, and wasn't even really in the right mindset in my early 20s or late teenage, early 20s to be doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
But I decided once I'd worked through some of my own personal issues and interpersonal issues, it was a benefit to my growth and development as a person. So that's why
Yeah.
I went down that path personally.
Same. Well, yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, I guess I can talk about mine. Mine was more in the beginning as a teenager. I did dabble quite a bit, and it was more in a party setting, and I had pretty much on every psychedelic when it comes to uh, ecstasy, shrooms, and LSD were eye-opening experiences, really intense, pretty crazy. I had a couple bad trips, I'd say, but even in my worst frame of minds, I think they helped me. But I didn't know the true power of them until maybe 2015 is when I started. I fell into pretty dark place. I was pretty down. You could say I was a doomer. I had fallen at the bottom of the doomer barrel, and my ideal self is not a doomer, but always expect myself to bloom into something better. Um, and I was looking for a way. Just I was just scouring the internet to get over some of these inner demons that have been tormenting me for a long time. And I started getting information on iboga, and like there was like shrooms and LSD. But I'd be like, oh no, I mean, those are drugs, party drugs. So, but then when I was researching like ayahuasca and iboga and all that, I'd see my feeds like more and more studies like John Hopkins and all that. Like this is where you want to get to, saying like talking about all the neurological impacts it has on the brain, like creating new
Yeah,
brain
and
cells
it can also
in the
reawake.
brain.
Go ahead, John. What?
Yeah, reoptimize your brain cells, like hyperconnect and deconnect certain bad neural pathways in the brain, and then reconnecting them in a better in a better way.
Optimized.
So if you have like anxious thoughts and depressive thoughts and all that, well, there's a biological mirror to that condition that's happening in your brain. And by hyperconnecting your brain and then deconnecting certain uh, it creates a state of neuroplasticity that helps it. But that's the thing, like when you're in a neuroplastic state, when your brain is in a neuroplastic state, negative influences can
Be
also
heightened.
create a deep impact into it, right? So anyways, I by looking at all those studies, I realized how important it was, like for set and setting and all that. I finally got my hands on some shrooms. I mean, it was easier. I did this in Eastern Canada at the time. I wasn't out here out west. It was easier for me to get cocaine or even fentanyl than to get a few grams of shrooms. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Um, there's no money to be made by selling them. I mean, they're sold dirt cheap and they're non-addictive, right? So when I finally got them, there was really good shrooms, and I did a few grams, and I had one of the best experiences in my life. And it actually got me to, really change my life. Come here out west, BC, Alberta, and all that. And I mean, my life has upgraded exponentially since then. Without going into details of my own personal life, it's only been a tool. I mean, there's many other things and choices I've made, if such a thing exists, but definitely an important tool in the toolbox of upgrading one's life for me personally.
Absolutely. It's a good segue kind of here into exercise, health, and wealth as well, right?
Hell yeah.
Like I said, like John said, these are a tool, right? You use them as a tool, not necessarily as a, it can get you so far, but it's not the panacea that's going to fix everything, right?
I like that
You
word,
have to do,
panacea.
yeah, thanks. You have to do everything, you have to do the work too, right? You can't just sit back and be a passive observer, you know?
Yeah.
Um, you know, and for myself, it's helped with me integrate a lot of past trauma that I've had in my life and be at
Same here.
peace with it and kind of move on and forgive for past interpersonal conflict.
Yeah.
It also, like, if you're out in nature, it helps you to even appreciate the beauty of nature more.
Oh, I know. I got goosebumps from you just saying that.
Like
It's
the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen is just magnified that much more, or just the smell of the trees or the twitter of birds, or
yeah.
your senses are heightened to a point you wouldn't even imagine.
Exactly. I know we're sounding soy as fuck right now, but it's the
That's
truth.
the bloomer side of us coming out right now.
Exactly.
Can't,
Exactly.
can't be doomer all the time.
Exactly. I totally agree. We yeah, we believe that, Doomer is like the cocoon. Oh my god, this sounds soy as fuck too. Before the
All right.
butterfly comes
Like
out.
a crystallid, eh, John? You're just a crystallid, like a little
The
caterpillar.
Doomer is the chrysalid. Either yes, exactly.
The doomer.
If you stay a doomer, I guess you'll just die, and you'll be a chrysalid. You'll stay chrysalid, and you'll become a dead chrysalid. If not, you'll bloom into an iron
An
butterfly.
iron butterfly, a steel butterfly.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a
exactly.
good. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, exactly. Not a soy butterfly.
A soy butterfly.
Yeah,
Uh,
saw a butterfly. Anyway,
um,
uh, so health, wellness, and wealth. Yeah. So yeah, wealth is very important to me. Building wealth, continuously looking to improve one's financial situation, but not at the sacrifice of your freedom
or
either,
health.
right? And exactly, and I think, like, for me, health, freedom, and wealth, they go together. I mean, if you focus on one, you're automatically, it's that domino effect, right? When you take away one bad habit, it doesn't only cure one aspect of your life, it'll improve so many other aspects of your life. Or if you develop one good habit, it'll have like all kinds of other positive
It's like the
consequences. Just a
three-sided
quick example.
three-sided stool, right?
Yeah, it's like if you decide to start going to the gym, not only that you'll get the direct results of the gym, but you'll start being automatically, you'll start usually being more careful of what you eat. you'll start having more energy, so you might actually want to do more sports and meet new people, and that'll create more opportunities down the road, etc., etc. Like, that's what I kind of mean by that domino effect, right?
Yeah, you can't have one or any of the three without the other, right? They kind of support each other.
Yeah, well, you can, but it's like there's like a pillar missing in your foundation, right? So that's the way I see it. I think if you focus, uh, if you make like, I like thinking of things in threes, or whatever. I'm a numbers guy sometimes, and but like if you I think if you on our program that you wrote down, so you wrote happiness,
I wrote,
health,
yeah,
and
health,
wealth,
wealth,
right?
and happiness.
Yeah. For me, happiness is a touchy word,
Well,
right?
I just
I think Jordan Peterson.
think of happiness as just well being, or a state of well being.
Yeah,
Like I don't think that ultimately striving just for happiness is ever going to make you happy. And you
yeah,
know and
exactly. Yeah, perfect. We're on
you
the
have
same
to be
page.
able to experience the full range of your feelings and the full range of your emotions, and you're going to realize that there's certain times when you're not going to feel happy or even content. You might even feel like shit, and that's okay to feel
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But
yeah. Totally agree with
the
that.
difference is staying there and not continuing to want to be better, to pursue other. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you don't change something in your environment, your mental or your physical state, then you're not going to get to a place where you can, you know, get better, or, make more connections, or that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, totally agree with that.
But yeah, striving
To-
just for happiness is illusionary. It's not really a thing. It's just,
well,
it is a thing, but it's
yeah,
not what people think it is.
yeah, because a lot of people think of happiness and always being joyful and happy-go-lucky, and like, oh yeah, life is beautiful every day. That's why I kind of wanted to open like a little bracket here. Uh, like what I describe as happiness is kind of what you just said right there, Bill. It's being able to have the free range of your emotional and feeling spectrum, having access to it and being able to manage it and control it. And it's okay to be pissed off or sad and all that, as long as it's not something that overtakes you and ruins the good stuff in your life. I mean, I think happiness for I would say like happiness for me is not like, but is having a certain inner core serenity or
Peace.
in
Yeah,
well-being and
I would say striving for
yes,
peace, or
exactly,
inner
peace.
peace and serenity, and outer peace also.
Yeah,
Un-
exactly, because we kind of adhere to similar philosophy. Well, we're both
well, Stoic
stoics, right?
and Taoism mostly.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd add, well, I wouldn't consider myself necessarily a stoic or a Taoist or this or that, but there are definitely philosophies, like there are other tools that I put into my psychological or philosophical
Agree.
toolbox that help me cope with
Modern life.
the insanity of life, right?
Modern life.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well, existence,
existence.
if you
Well,
will.
because even like compared to people 50 years ago, I would say, or even like just
Yeah.
post World War. I mean, we live in a very chaotic, changing society, and that is why a lot of some of these disorders, anxiety, depression specifically, are actually starting to become a problem.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have people that are, have the tools to go out and pursue the work they want to do, if they're stuck in their heads and their own beds, it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, social alienation and isolation. This narcissist, and don't get me wrong, I'm far from being innocent of narcissism here. Just to be honest, uh, I accept like all the more darker. I accept all the darker forms of the human persona. I think we all have a little tidbit in one form or another inside of us, right?
The shadow, if you will.
But anyways, yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, I think one of the biggest drugs for humanity is not cocaine, it's not money, it's attention. People crave
That's what
attention, and this is a society we live in. We got Instagram thoughts and um, fucking Facebook douchebags everywhere, and they're popping all over the place because, I mean, it's it's not their fault in a way. I mean, this is like the world they're brought in. You
Well,
know,
yeah, Facebook only came
it,
out in 2004, right? Instagram
yeah,
was 2012, 11. Uh,
yeah,
Twitter
something
was
like that.
2006. So these are these tools, these products, let's call it, like, these services have come out in the last 20 years. So try to imagine being a young person, even kid, even, right? Because
Yeah,
kids nowadays have iPads, they have phones. When I was growing up in the 90s, I didn't have a cell phone. Didn't have I had dial-up internet, didn't have access to these sort of things. So the landscape that these kids and these young adults and teenagers and soon to be like actual voting adults, it's a completely different landscape than we are used to. And technology is outpacing a lot of the social policy around it. And we don't even know what the long-term effects of some of this stuff does to you psychologically.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I can actually relate a little bit to these kids though. I remember growing up as a teenager at certain points in my early teenage years feeling like I wasn't popular enough, and I wasn't I wasn't where I wanted to be in the social hierarchy, if you will, right? And I got to a certain point where I felt and I was on top of the world. Um, and it became, and when I started having other personal, to the point where it became like almost the most like image and reputation and all that became more important than your than almost anything
well, it's an
else, right? Having that sense of
addiction in
belonging.
itself, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of where the point I was getting to. I can only imagine, and this was in the 90s. I can only imagine being that same 15, 16, 17, 18-year old I was in the 90s, in early 2000s, growing up today with all like all this social media
Social
and all
media.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, where you're trying to score points uh, with the
Like,
opposite.
does my Instagram
And
post have
in
more
today's
likes,
case,
or does yours, or like,
yeah, and trying in my case, and probably most guys' case, the opposite sex. But hey, if you're into something else, well, as long as you're not touching kids, well, feel free. But yeah, I mean, it's all about trying to impress whoever you're sexually attracted to. It's all about building your reputation, climbing up the social hierarchies, or whatever they may be. If you're a nerd, um, or a tech geek or whatever, you want to be on top of that. If you're a jock or a meathead, you want to be on top of that. If you're a doomer, you want to be king of the
yeah,
doomers. If you're an emo, you want to be king of the emos, right? It doesn't matter. Everyone's trying to climb, the pecking order to be on top of whatever their game is, right? And there's always losers and winners, and I guess to the point where we're going, it's like try to find whatever social. The most important part is that if you can focus on having two or three good
I
people
would
in your
say
life that you can truly be yourself with.
meaningful
uh
relationships. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The rest will follow after that. And I think that was something instinctively known when we in our generations and the generations before that. Sense of community was pretty strong back then, I think. And now it's like,
There's a bit of a disconnect,
you
I would
know,
say. The message that are
yeah,
people are being told versus what is being displayed. You know,
yeah, like people turn each other, well, at least online, from what I'm seeing online, because I don't listen to the news
no,
anymore.
neither do
You
I.
know, my news is mostly online. So you know, um, what's going on? Like people turn on each other for just having a wrong opinion about something. And this is probably going to segue into, you know, the transgender and sports
Yeah, that's
debate, right?
exactly where I was going with
Uh,
this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, Joe Rogan, who's like a moderate guy in almost every political or cultural debate, is being called like a far right conservative extremist because he doesn't think
Transgender
lady man's men into
men
woman
transitioning to
or
woman,
vice
yeah,
versa.
men, but I would say specifically men transitioning to woman, participating
Yeah, shouldn't fight or shouldn't participate in sports that are
female
uh
class only
for women. Yeah,
because of the
yeah,
physical advantages due to biologically growing up gender male, because physiologically
yeah,
they should be stronger, right? Our musculature, our
yeah,
skeletal structure is just different,
yeah.
and now
Fortunately, a lot of far regressive leftists will disagree with that, but the truth. Well, hopefully, the truth is indestructible, and no matter how much you spit on it,
I'm
trample
not
on
saying
it,
that they shouldn't
it
participate in sports. I just think it'd be better served if they
no.
had their own league or their own specific Olympics or
Well,
arena where they
like we
participate.
were, like we were discussing, at this point, I actually want to see it,
Yeah,
man.
I kind of do too.
I want to see more of it. I want to see everyone's fucking presuppositions or value system just disrupted. Almost want it's almost like a peaceful anarchy. I can just watch it, tune it out if I want to. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm not that big of a sports fan or whatever. If like women to men or men to woman transitioners or whatever want to do it and whatever, well, whatever, there'll be consequences to it. Meaning, like, if you guys want to be politically incorrect and you'll see some man to woman fucking UFC fighter, which has already happened, I think. This is what Rogan was talking about. Just fucking smashing women left, right, and center like it was nothing. Well, then, okay, so be it. Or these Australian feminists that want women to participate in rugby.
Okay,
It'll be fucking
let them do
hilarious.
it, but just
Let them do it at this point. At first, I'd be like, hell no, man. Like, what the fuck? Are they
I
crazy? But
yeah,
hey,
I'd pay tickets. I'd pay money actually to see that now.
yeah, I think so too. Put women and men in jail together. Why not at this point? You
It's
know,
what they want.
gender is just a
They want
construct.
equal. They want equal rights. They can have equal jails, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so, eh? Fuck,
I mean,
man.
I don't think it would be great, but if that's what they're leaning towards, then I wouldn't be opposed anymore.
Yeah. Well, if I was a guy in jail, and women were allowed in, I'd be happy with that.
I think
I don't think the women would be happy.
I think some of the women would be more butch than the guys, to be honest.
Oh, some would try.
Why?
But I think I think a lot of hardcore feminists would develop their feminine side pretty damn quick with fucking
Yeah, no, it's true.
I really think they would. Yeah, for real. I mean, you know, you can act all tough like on Twitter and all that shit, but like when you're behind everything's real when it's concrete and steel, and with a bunch of fucking psychopaths and sociopaths that don't give a fuck. You know, they're just looking for prey. Be you man or woman. If you look weak and they can take advantage, that you got something, they got something you want, and they want to take it. And if you're weak, well, you're either going to bow down or get fucking smacked around, unless you have some tactic, be it mental or physical or you know, social or whatever. I mean, that's how jail is, man. Well, that's from what I've heard from the movies and documentaries and shows.
Agree.
Anyways, yeah. I mean, but yeah, I
You
mean,
have to
jail's
be
no joke.
tough to make
Yeah.
it in jail is basically what you're coming at.
Well, if you're not tough, then you're gonna be a bitch.
Yeah,
They're
I think the
gonna
movie's called Get Hard by Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart.
okay. Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
So yeah,
That's a true story, man.
based
You
on
know
a true
that?
story. Black man helping the white man out in
Yeah,
jail. Yep.
yeah, yeah. True story.
Um, I don't know. I think we started
But
off this topic
the
on
book is way better. The book is way better than the
the
movie,
book
though.
is better than the movie.
Yeah, yeah. The book Get Hard.
Okay. John obviously has a different bookshelf than the rest of us, but full of more magazines than the rest of us, probably.
Yeah,
Um,
I probably do.
um, but yeah, we're circling back to the transgender issue, or the transgenderism in our society.
Yeah,
These people have the right and freedom to be who they are and express themselves who they are. That's perfectly fine. Um, but when it goes to the point where they're basically out competing and out winning a lot of these natural, I'm going to say natural women in air quotes here.
well, they are. I mean, you know, a
It's
man to
unfair.
woman is
Right?
not a
It's
natural woman.
unfair, in my opinion. And if they have their own league, I think we'd be better served. I don't know. That's pretty much all I want to say on that. I don't know. Do you want anything to add?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck no more. Like fucking. I'd love to see like a 6'5" man into a woman, just like go into the UFC or boxing or whatever, and just like smash smash women left, right, and center, and hear and prove all the feminists that say, oh yeah, women are just as strong physically as men. Uh, Shut the
Debunked.
fuck up.
The only line
Debunked.
I would draw, and again, Joe Rogan kind of tore Adam ruins everything apart in his argument, is I don't think we should allow children to be making these choices so early.
Oh,
You know,
I know.
that's what I'm really
Holy.
afraid of. You know, a lot of it comes down to they haven't hit puberty yet, and they're neither in the physical, psychological, and physiological state to make these decisions, and neither should they be having these decisions made for them. You know,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you wouldn't advocate kids smoking weed at 9, 10 years old or whatnot. I mean, hormones, even before they hit puberty, is completely insane
you
to
know.
me.
I would just caution. I would
Yeah, I
caution
mean,
against it from a societal policy standpoint and from a a parenting standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
You
too.
know,
I don't, when it comes to kids, I don't want to I don't want to sound too serious, like on all the topics. But when it comes to kids, I mean, let them go through puberty. I mean, if they identify as a woman or whatever, be there for your kid. I mean, try to support your kid as much as possible. I mean, I can only imagine how crazy it is to be under that condition. So I do have compassion and sympathy and all that, um, quite a bit actually. But uh, yeah, let them express themselves and let them be real to the world and support them and all that. I mean, ask them questions, but like, do not pump hormones that change you to the neurological and physiological level. That's completely absurd. Uh, yeah, that's
that's the line
all
I
I
would
would add
draw,
to that.
basically.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, trans men or women, whatever. I mean, if society wants to go that route, I mean, I'll think it's funny at this point.
Well,
I really don't
we looked
care
it up the
anymore.
other day. There's 63 different forms of gender expression now. You know, include
Yeah, and if that's what makes them happy, then so be it. But stop trying to change the laws so that we have to adapt to you guys. You know, that's what subculture is for, right? I mean, when I was growing up, I had a whole bunch of fucking views that were against the norms and the cultures and all that, and I'd say fuck you to the culture, and I'd live in my little microcosm or whatever, in parallel with the rest of the greater, and I still do. I mean, I consider myself a fairly marginal person, especially in this day and age. I mean, I've considered myself pretty much a classical liberal all my life, except in the like the center left has become become the right now.
yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
insane.
It's hard to parse what is moderate. You know,
Yeah. Well, it's because moderate is not good enough. That's the thing. That's what these far leftists are saying. Moderate is not
yeah,
good
I
enough.
disagree. I think it's just fine.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You know,
yes, it is fine.
when you
It's
yeah, exactly.
sane.
It's sane in a world of insanity.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuanced um, compared to black or white. I mean, I see these regressive leftists just as insane as the conservative Christians. I used to just have fun seeing YouTubers mock and destroying
What,
the
you don't want
faiths
a
and
little
all
bit
that.
of
You
little
know,
nuts on your ice cream? A little conservative nuts?
yeah. Well, yeah. That's how. If society is a Sunday, um, the leftists are like pink little sprinkles, and the far right. I'm not talking about people like Jordan Peterson or Sam Harris or who else? Paul Joseph Watson or the Amazing Atheist or whatever. I'm not talking about these people. These people are not far right, or Joe Rogan or whoever. I mean, these people are not far right people. At best, you could call them center right. Some of them, most of them are actually center left or whatever. They're moderate in their opinions. They're nuanced in their opinions. Um, I'm talking about like real Nazis and real yeah, we must destroy the
Yeah.
Jews and get rid of the black man and restore the white pride into our neighborhoods. You know, those people. Like, yeah, those are the right wing nuts. So in the societal Sunday that we have, we've got ice cream. Some is pink, some is brown, like chocolate. Some is vanilla, some is caramel, etc., etc. And you have like these right wing nuts and pink little sprinkles, and here you go. Here's our Sunday with a cherry on top.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know, in the grand scheme of things, maybe every nut job and every fucking psycho Antifa and every fucking Muslim jihadist and every communist and every Nazi, like the worst of the worst in all extremes in all directions, has their role to play in this universal dance we're dancing on, floating in space.
Man, you're using a lot of imagery tonight, John. Feeling poetic, are we?
I guess.
Speaking,
it must be the monster.
Yeah, that's right. What did he call us earlier? The reasonable monsters.
Oh yeah, podcast idea number 5, I think.
Number 5. The reasonable monsters, he called us. We're reasonable, but we're still monsters
because of our opinions. Yeah, for a lot of people will consider us monsters for having our personal views and our opinions aired on the internet.
Well,
they're monsters. How dare they say that?
Well,
how dare they?
John. I've decided that I'm gonna be purple pill.
Yeah, purple pill, eh? I always used to say that joke when the Matrix came out, like when I was more a pillophile.
A pillophile?
Yeah. I had an attraction. I had a strong attraction to pills.
Specifically red.
And this is like in exactly. I mean, I remember I made a joke when I saw the movie when it first came out. I'm like, I'd be like, "Fuck that! Give me both of them."
John, see how far the rabbit hole goes. Take the blue pill,
motherfucker.
Stay in the dream world, John, and wake up, and and wake up in your bed like nothing happened. Bitch, give me both.
Yeah. Motherfucker. I just love saying that.
I think you have a bit of like gangster in you. I don't know.
You think so? I grew up like such a nerd though.
You're just like Eminem. You're like the Canadian version of Eminem.
Nah, come on.
No. Nacho Matas in the house. Like just for context here, he signed in as J Slim. So you can take from that as what you want.
Mm-hmm. It's a surname given to me.
Yeah, Sir J Slim.
Yeah,
from Dr. Dre.
No, but I remember when I took a myriad of pills younger.
Red, blue, black, white, purple,
yellow, orange, red. Some with hearts on them. Some with I remember I had some pills. They had Snoopy.
Those were vitamins
on them.
Those are vitamins, John.
Thanks. No. And well, they were the best. One of the best vitamins I've taken.
MD8 vitamins you've ever taken.
Yeah.
No. Flintstone vitamins. That's where it's at. So
that's where the health is at, motherfucker. We represent health up this bitch. Yeah. We represent the health. Because we bloom, motherfucker. We bloom.
Yeah, well, you got to go through the doom to get to the bloom, as they say.
Yeah. They meaning
wizards.
Yeah, other people besides us.
Gandalf and such.
Wait, so where were we going with this podcast?
You're supposed to be talking about what red pill, blue pill, purple pill, black pill is. I kind of really segued really nice for you there.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so these philosophies. I'm sure a lot of our current and future audiences will know what they've heard of it at least.
Maybe they have,
now, but What would you say? What how would you describe, Bill,
How would I
the blue
I
pill?
would describe me as the blue pill prior to 2015, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay. And but how would you
uh,
describe, like, how have your
what
views
like what
changed
is blue
from
pill?
blue
What
pill
is
to
blue pill
what
to
your
me
views are now?
personally? Blue pill is
Yeah.
basically digesting information without actually absorbing it and discerning it and picking it apart and being skeptical of information that you're given without actually dissecting it properly and forming your own opinions about it. It's just like shoveling crap down your throat without really realizing what you're eating. Like psychologically,
Well said. Not questioning, not being aware or questioning the
basically living
programming
your life
around
in
you.
a dream world without any of your own original thoughts or
Mm-hmm.
just accepting the societal norms without even thinking about why is this a societal norm? Why am I in this?
Yeah.
Why am I in this track in the first place? You know,
Yeah.
questioning who you are, where you are, why you are, and who you're with, even at some points in time. It's used often in the context of romantic relationships, but it also is
Yeah.
about your own belief system and questioning of the society as well.
Yeah, that's very well said. And like, to give like an example, you're you marry
Well, you marry
some
your high school
girl
sweetheart
because
or your college,
yeah. Well, it could be said that marrying your high school sweetheart. I mean, if you're truly in love, and 5-6 years down the road, you still have those feelings for that person, um, is not necessarily well, just before we explain, I would consider myself like a mix of all
but
three.
I'm just
You know,
saying that blue pill before marriage is not a good idea, even if it was your high school sweetheart, because blue pill means
yeah, yeah. Well, okay,
because blue
I know.
pill
Okay, I know what you mean. But like, what I'm saying is, like, if you're getting married just because that's what expected to you, and that we're like, an extreme example is like, we can't sleep together before marriage because my Christian values and my parents and my church, etc., etc. This is how it is. It says that in the Bible. That would be like an extreme form of blue pill, right? um I mean, there's all kinds of nuances just in that blue pill arena alone, but that would be a clear example of what a blue pill is. But another blue pill is that, women are almost perfect, and our role is to
support them in all their
strictly
endeavors,
um, support them and be good
be
guys
the
to them, and
faithful
if you
whipping
take
horse,
care of them, and you're a provider, they're going to love you and respect you.
which is
When the reality is, like, and this where red pill would come in,
they'd
is
rather get with
no,
the
look,
asshole.
look, most, yeah, the asshole, quote unquote.
Yeah,
um
they're
it's just that, like, it's just be like, here's a blue pill programming. If you're, you don't take an account that you might be a nice guy to a girl, but if she's not attractive to you, she might like the asshole just because the asshole is charming, makes her go through a whole range of emotions that you can't because you're too boring, and he's better looking than you. you know I mean, but since your program blue pill, strictly blue pill, you think that being nice is the way to get a woman to love you, or even worse, which is even more pathetic, to get into her pants. If you believe that, you're a fucking idiot. If you think that being nice and courteous and polite with a girl, but I'm not saying to be an asshole to a girl either. I'm just saying the asshole might be able to get the girl over you because he has a whole bunch of attributes that actually turn her on, and she likes the guy despite him being an asshole. You know?
Well, yeah. And I think a lot of us have aspects of both, and even all three of this other pill, the black pill.
Yeah. Exactly. So like now describe what the red
The
pill
red
is for
pill
you.
for me is an eyes wide open perspective on everything, whether that be interpersonal
Mhm.
relationships,
Okay.
society at large, like kind of reading between the lines of what's going on, and in relationships in general. Because a lot of like women specifically, they communicate with subtext. They don't communicate overtly like men do, like just say how things are or how you're. They don't communicate directly like that. When they're forced to communicate directly like that is when it's their last resort. Like they've run out of any other options, and now they're forced to communicate directly. So red pill is just
Yeah.
being aware of the nuances and reading between the lines, whether it be interpersonal, societal, or romantic, or even sexual relationships.
Yeah, it's understanding the inner workings
You know, it's like looking
of a certain
looking at
pre-established
the actual operating system versus just looking at the outside of a computer. You know, what's going on
yeah,
behind the
yeah,
scenes.
yeah. Instead of going to the computer shop and like, oh,
Yeah,
this
it
computer looks
seems
nice. It must be a good computer.
it's
This
that
computer
computer is
will
going to
love
give you
me.
STDs, John. That computer has.
But yeah, red pill, yeah, because I mean, it's applied like just like the blue pill to dating and romance and all that. But I mean, you can be like red pilled on society. You can, uh, I mean, like education is being red pilled on
You know, like
education.
you need to pay.
Especially in the U.S., it's not as bad here in Canada, but we know people that are gravely in debt. Multiple people actually that are greatly in debt because of the school system, tens of
Yeah,
thousands of dollars. And in the US, it's rampant. And your programming is basically telling you go to school, go to college, get a degree, preferably in women's
liberal art,
studies,
basket
and be
weaving,
indebted for, yeah, shit like that. And, get a job to
pay
pay
for
off
all the
that
shit.
debt for at least 20, and pay for your
20 to
IKEA
30 years of
furniture,
your yeah
so you can retire.
your
Yeah,
401k and then blow your brains out.
and being told, but yeah, and being told that that's the only way. That's the only
Well,
way you're ever going to succeed in
well,
society. So
in,
that's a blue
in
pill on society, and red pill would be, hey,
well,
I mean, I got the internet. I have a whole bunch of tools. I can fucking make a shitload of money doing other stuff,
well,
etc.
especially now. But I like in the immortal words of Goodwill Hunting. I mean, you can you you can pay those thousands of dollars, or you can pay $1.50 in library fees. You know, overdue library fees.
Yep.
You know, any information we
Yep.
have access to is available freely through the internet now. You know,
Yeah. Well, you're paying for the degree. I mean, you're paying for licensing and degrees, being told, oh,
and
you paid your
I'm not
dues,
saying that in
so
certain
we can
fields
give
like
you.
medical or engineering or technical professions don't require those certifications, because I think they do. STEM fields, I
STEM
believe,
fields, yeah.
absolutely should require some form of bar structured
Structured
education
education.
that says, yes, I have these qualifications to, yes, perform heart surgery on you, John. John. Don't like you want to see that that your doctor has his MD, right? But it's not the same for somebody,
Yeah, for sure.
like this is the bad stereotype, but serving you coffee at Starbucks. Who cares if he has a degree in
Yeah,
philosophy and women's studies? That
yeah.
not that they're
I'm
bad
sure they
people, but
do.
for lots of people, especially if you have a lower income family or whatever, going down these degree programs are not
Yeah.
worth the money.
Yeah, even like business and financials and look, like I mean universities are breeding grounds for ID, like it's almost it's more like a brainwashing center, especially for the leftist agenda. I don't want to talk about the left
Okay,
too much, especially in this
we
episode,
can table that for
but
another podcast.
yeah, 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 exactly. But I mean, universities are not what they used to be. I mean, they're trying to give access to more and more people just because it's a cash cow at this
Business.
point. I mean, it's the only type of debt you can't go bankrupt for, and if you don't pay it off, they can jail you. At least in the U.S. But um but like they're supposedly they're making it easier and easier to have higher and higher scores, so it can be access to many and many people, so your diploma is depreciating in value. It's basically inflating, it's inflating the value of your education. So someone that really deserves, because of their talent in a certain field and their brilliance, or whatnot, their diploma is being devalued because some banks and government agencies and all that and private sector mixed together decided, hey, we can make a lot of money, and we can have people indebted to us and have people give them shitty degrees, and like the cream will always rise to the top, but the lower people, well, they can do the shitty jobs we don't need until the robots take
Well,
over, and
even
then we'll have our Illuminati state and whatever.
well, that's
You know,
even already
who knows what's going to
that's
happen
even
in the
already
future?
happening,
But
right? Like automation is becoming more the norm than right than what's
yeah,
going on. Like you can go to McDonald's now and order from this a touch menu, right? You know,
yeah,
um,
yeah. And truck drivers are, within 15-20 years are probably going to be replaced. That's going to create like the trucking industry is the biggest employer as an industry in all the US and Canada. I mean, it's the biggest, and yeah, it's the biggest industry that hires the most people, especially non college or
but
university
John, what are
educated
all those
men, right?
incels going to do when they graduate high school now? They can't go drive truck.
No, they won't. Maybe an ice cream truck, if that. How reassuring is that? Incels driving ice cream trucks,
Doesn't
eh?
give me much hope for for society.
No, no.
You know,
Here's the end. You could hear the incels like creep from far away. Ding, 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 ding. Whatever that music is.
no, Timmy, you're gonna stay indoors today. So
Yeah, no ice
no
cream
ice
for
cream for
you.
you. You ain't got no ice cream. You ain't got no ice cream. I got it, you don't.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of incels, well, that takes us to
Yes, it
the black
does.
pill. The black pill, or a lot of people, well, even me, like the black pill concept is
Well, it was
relatively
definitely new
new
to
to me.
me. Like when you
I
said black pill, like, what the hell is the black pill?
Yeah.
I just figured out what the red pill is. I don't need another pill. Too many pills, John.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I go through. I've gone through too many YouTube rabbit holes. But yeah, the black pill. So it's a fairly new concept to you. So for me, uh, when it comes to the dating game, it's a lot. It's guys that think it's
It's
pretty much
rigged.
hopeless for them because they're not a Chad level, which means a Chad is basically like a creme de la creme guy when it comes to body and
And where you
looks,
are in life with wealth
specifically the
and
face.
status as well.
Yeah, but that's very secondary to what I've seen on the internet. It's really looks first, then money and status second. But like looks will trump everything else in their opinion. And to be honest, I don't ascribe as a black pill or a red pill or a blue pill or whatnot. I think there's truths in all of them, and that's the point we'll both be getting at later on. Um, but yeah, like I realized at a young age that looks definitely mattered, like to girls, right? Popularity and looks and money and status, and popularity would be like with would go
No,
kind of
no,
with
it's
status, right?
stack cash.
uh
How's the saying go?
but when you're a teenager, when you're a teenager,
Disregard women,
you know
get money,
like
stack cash. No,
yeah, something like that. But yeah, when you're a teenager, like money's not is not
no,
really that
social status
important,
and
right?
looks is more important.
uh that exactly, and that still continues on when you're an adult. It's just that money contributes to your status um when you're growing up and you're becoming an adult. So status, and I mean, if you look at the caveman days, I
Who
mean,
had the
I'm
most
sure there was
fish?
like Genghis Khan wasn't the
He had,
best looking dude, right? I'm sure
he had the,
I'm sure he wasn't the best looking dude, but I'm sure he was able to spread a lot of
what are
love.
you talking about? He
Um,
assimilated all of Western Asia with love. Haven't you heard that story?
yeah, yeah. Who told? I can't remember. I was having a conversation with someone, and yeah, he was
Yeah,
telling me he was a peaceful
I heard
dude.
Genghis Khan assimilated Western Asia with love.
Yes, he he was the
Yeah, that's
Asian
right.
Jesus.
I heard that directly from somebody we know mutually.
Yeah, yeah,
He who shall not be named.
yeah. Yeah, but like great warriors, and all that. I'm sure not everyone was like a Chad looks wise, but I'm sure like all the and I've seen it. I've seen it myself. Like
But he had the
real
most gold, John,
badass tough guys.
and the bow and arrow. He
Yeah,
had
I
the
know, I
technology.
know.
He had like the
Uh,
Tesla of technology.
well, he did. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he had the best fucking kick ass horse, man. I'm sure he didn't have like uh Manchu Picchu the pony out there in the back. That was probably for Boris. Boris, the 3 foot
Boris,
Mongol.
the 3 foot Mongol.
Mongolian, sorry.
Oh God.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
what.
yeah. I'm sure Genghis Khan had like I'm sure he called his horse
Oh yeah,
Tesla.
yeah.
Oh,
Tesla Khan.
I love you,
Tesla Khan.
Tesla. Oh, me and you.
It was
Hmm? Is that racist if we imitate accents? Is
I
that culture appropriation, or is that racism, or uh which I mean, no disrespect to any culture, but um I mean, I'm half French, and a lot of people fucking you don't hear me crying about it. So if you want to imitate, if anyone wants to imitate my French accent or whatever, feel
ho
free.
ho ho.
But
Get
you
John.
know, that's why we wanted to be called reasonable monsters, because sometimes I'll probably imitate a Chinese one day, and I know a lot of people are going to call me a fucking monster, a racist, a far right nut, blah blah blah, because I imitated someone's
I
another
think
culture's
if it's
accent.
used comedic effect and without really being insulting, but that's actually how they sound. So get over it.
Yeah. Well, like
Oh
Apu
my
is
God.
racist
You
now,
don't
right?
like it, don't watch The Simpsons. If you don't like the Seinfeld, don't watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Just
Yeah.
because something.
Yeah,
Go
man.
ahead.
Yo, I saw this video. And I think that's why there's a lot of black pills, man. I saw this video about like young kids complaining about how
Yeah,
Seinfeld
the new
was
Zoomers.
offensive.
Those are like the generation after millennials. Like I grew up on
Dang,
Seinfeld, okay?
Seinfeld.
And it's an
I
institution.
love that show, man.
And I'm sorry, you don't get to judge on artistic content that was before your time, to be honest.
Yeah.
uh, it's a funny show. It's well written. Yes, it has some elements that could be
Yep.
controversial, but if it wasn't controversial, it wouldn't be a good show.
Yeah, and since when is controversy something controversial? In any case, I mean, Marilyn Manson said it best. I mean, if everybody agrees and likes you, you're doing
Absolutely,
it
you should
wrong.
be hated optimally.
Yeah, I mean, optimally, you should be hated. If everybody loves you and
Everybody
everyone
loves
agrees with you, you should be exterminated. You should be shot in the
everybody
head
loves
on
Raymond,
sight.
and you know what happened to that show?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But actually, no, it was actually the number one show for a while. But I never
Because it
got
wasn't
into it
Seinfeld.
myself. Yo, I'd love to hear these millennials complain about. Now, I'm a millennial myself, but
You're the first
I'm
gen.
like first, yeah, like we're very, very first gen. I'm the first
You're
model of
like
the
the iPod
millennials. I'm like the
iPod Classic of
T1000, right?
millennials.
Yeah, or the T1000, right? I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the
You,
Terminators,
you
in the
see yourself.
Terminator models, right?
Okay.
So exactly, I don't identify as an Apple or an iPod.
I'm
More,
just saying.
you
I'm just
know,
saying.
it might be my first model generation millennial programming, but I'd rather identify as
Okay,
a
you can.
Terminator.
As long as I'm a liquid Terminator, I'll
You,
give you
can you
that.
give me
As
that,
long
Bill?
as
Do
long as
you
I get to be
allow
the
me?
liquid Terminator, you can be T1.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, man, I'm humble. I'm being humble here.
Yeah, it's all
You
right.
know,
Only way to kill me is if
there you
you
go.
freeze me and then melt me. So it's cool.
Yeah, man.
So
That's
so black
exactly
pill is a
that's how
complete
we do.
rejection of society, right? That's how I would describe it. Like it would be just be
Yeah,
like, fuck this, I'm out. Is basically what I see black pill as. Whereas blue pill is still participating, red pill is still participating with a wide open knowledge of what's actually happening. Black pill is having that knowledge and going
yeah,
like, I'm out. See you later.
yeah.
Right?
There's
You just
nothing to
like
be done here.
society's doomed.
Um,
We're all gonna press the nuclear button and that's it. I'll just be quiet. I'll be doing my midnight walk
yeah,
with my headphones on, and that'll be the end of time.
yeah. And I would also say, like, well, when it comes to the, from what I've heard on these different channels and stuff, is that the red pill, I think, when it comes to dating, have made some errors on what's better, what's more important. You know, they'll say game is more important than looks or whatever, that you like, that game will trump looks. And I think at extreme levels, if you got like some extremely socially awkward but like super good looking
I
dude,
would say
uh,
I would say looks
compared
trump game
to
unless you have good game, right? But it
yeah,
requires the,
exactly,
the problem is
yeah,
extreme
extreme
game
game, right?
also generally requires to be relatively good looking at the same time. You know,
Exactly. It's a feedback effect, right? It's hard to have game when every fucking woman you
oh, he
approach
looks
will
like the Hunchback of
fucking
Notre Dame. No
uh
thanks.
well, I mean, woman won't, yeah, I mean, like, you know, if you approach a woman and her
Her
you
that
know, when they just
visceral
give you that look,
the
like, what the
visceral
fuck are you
reaction is just like, get away from me.
like, really, like, disgust or whatever, you know? I mean, if that's the only look you're getting time after time, or complete indifference every single second of your life, how can you feel any other way? I mean, and imagine like this, so that a lot of these black pills, from what I gathered, is that they're hello, ladies and gentlemen. We experienced a little technical difficulty. This is our episode 2. This is John Wynn resuming his rant about
Black pill.
incels and black pills being rejected by women like crazy, and how the fuck would you expect them to have game or personality when the only thing they experience in life is being treated like shit. Just like, how would you expect a kid that's been beaten nonstop and neglected by his parents to be a functioning member of society? So we're actually about to wrap up this podcast, but we wanted to let you guys know what our philosophy is on the red pill, blue pill, and black pill, and we actually think there's truth and meaning in all three of them. So, Bill, if you want to give your take on it, I'll give mine after, and we'll wrap this up.
Don't be blue pill all the time. Sometimes be red pill, and only be black pill when you've realized your limits.
Yeah, that sounds short and sweet. That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, I would say if you're living in the blue pill world exclusively, you probably don't even know that you're blue pill. Start questioning your programming, start questioning what you're being told, and be careful. It is a jungle out there. All humans, women and men, can stab you in the back, can rip you off, can fucking pretend they're your friends, or can pretend they love you when they actually don't. Look out. And that's when you become red pill. When you're red pilled, you realize that oh wow, I've been living in an illusion. All this is false and fake, and etc. etc. And so you think you can do something about it, and you can do some stuff about it. In most cases, you can upgrade yourself, but if you're not careful, you think that you'll become reversed red pill. You'll think that everything can be solved with the red pill, and if you're not careful, you'll get black pill, which means that you realize that you can only do so much to progress in life. I mean, if you're, if you're someone that thinks that, you've never really had success with women, and by being red pill, you think you're gonna be able to score with any woman you want all day, every day. Well, you got another thing coming. But if you're completely black pilled and think that there's nothing you can do all the time, well then, it sucks to be you, man. And to all the black pills and red pillars, if you're so aware of how things work, and you're not even aware that, be it a woman in your life or your friends or whatever, that there are good people that jive well with who you are, and that will love you and treat you with respect, and that will lift you up instead of bringing you down, well, then you're in a way almost as blind as the blue pillars in a certain way. Maybe more aware of certain of your surroundings, but blissfully unaware of like your true selves at the same time. I believe that if you meet the right people in your life, and you can't allow yourself to express friendship or love or anything like this, then you're
It's kind
missing
of
out.
lonely. It's lonely,
It's lonely and it's empty.
but it's both. It's lonely and empty.
Yeah. I mean, so you're always in a state of game. If you're exclusively red pill, you're in a state of always like gaming and, putting on a facade,
Hard to let your guard down.
Yeah, and look, I'm making generalizations here. I'm sure, like, there's a lot of people that consider themselves red pill, and have a lot of respect, and even black pill and blue pill in a way. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't consider myself any color, but I would definitely mix all three together. Give yourself uh, a purple pill mentality. Just like you can follow Buddhism, but you can also read about Stoicism, and you can see some truth and existentialism and a philosophy, and see what works for you. So,
It's just like another mental toolkit you can pick from.
exactly. Totally agree. So I guess that's how we became the Doomer Gloomers, right?
That's long story short. Yeah, that's how it became the Doomer Gloomers. I don't think I could
Yeah.
say that with a straight face.
The Doomer Bloomers.
We said Gloomers again, didn't we?
I did. I think the black pill switched an unconscious
I think it's a
gloomy
Freudian.
a Freudian slip right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, have hope no matter how bad your situation is. Um,
And do
bet.
psychedelic drugs
Yes,
to get
do
out of the hole.
psychedelic drugs. Bet on yourself, and make that money.
Make that stack cash.
Get ripped.
Get ripped, get rich.
Yeah, get ripped, get rich, or die trying.
Or die trying. Oh, I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, man. Get rich, man. Before, like, seriously, make your money before all your jobs are being taken over by robots. I mean, my brain is halfway in the future, all day, every day, man. And yeah, this world is changing. For you older people out there, you might think the world is fucked up now. You ain't seen nothing yet. And there'll be a conversation on another podcast, but we'll be talking about all kinds of crazy shit that's brewing for the future.
All right. Do you want to
Yeah.
sign off, John?
Yeah, I'm going to sign off too. That's thank you, Bill ETE, for accompanying me on my rants and giving your opinions on
My
these
stoic
fascinating subjects. Yes, exactly.
This is Bill Ete,
John Wynn,
and
the
we are
Doomer
the
Bloomer podcast, and we're out.
Peace.